Hello, friends. Welcome to A Little Room for Healing, where we aim to create a little more room in the world for authentic connection, insightful healing, and a deeper understanding of our hearts, ourselves, and each other through honest conversation.
My name is Joel. I'm an energy healer based in Reiki and 13th Lahu Chi, and your host. My guest today is Tommy Stoffel. He is the co-author of Take the Wheel, an Offroad Monks guide to quiet your mind and get back in the driver's seat of life. He is also a facilitator of mindful jeeping. The Offroad Monks will take you on a metaphorical journey into your inner wilderness to free your mind, navigate the unmarked roads ahead, venture deeper into the forest, and ultimately come out on the other side. They help you to discover life in what they call the green zone. On today's episode, we talk about the green zone, a place of stillness where the mind and body sync. I open up about my attachment to victimhood and what it means to be in my power. We look into unhooking the hooks in relationships, and I learn about what Zen Jeeping does for your system. This is part one of a two-part podcast. Come on in. Hey, Tommy.
Hey, Joel.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me today.
It's already been a full morning with us, which is amazing. Breakfast.
Thank you for a delicious breakfast.
You're so welcome. Thanks for having me, and thanks for the lovely, amazing conversation over breakfast, which we were both like, when we were talking about it, we were both like, this would have been great on the podcast. So maybe we can re-explore some of it and still be natural in it. I feel confident that we'll be able to. And just want to give... I feel like I want to give some context about, I don't, not yet. I think it'll come up naturally if it wants to come up, about you and me and how we met and all that stuff.
And that's okay that went screensaver?
I think so.
Good. Good.
We're trying a new recording thing, so. Okay, let's start with check-ins. And the check-ins are just, how are we feeling in the moment? What are we bringing into the podcast with us? That's it. And I'll go first. This morning I'm feeling spacious and grounded and already feeling so lifted from our earlier conversation. And with the stuff that I've been working on in my own personal life, it feels like there's some unraveling and opening up in it, and that there's I have an excitement in me. And I'm also, this particular podcast is something really new to me, like super new to me, regarding the Jeeping. And so I feel electric about it, and like, I'm so excited. So that's my check-in.
Well, when I saw the van pull up this morning, I was like, all right, we're doing this. And it just feels very natural to me. It feels right. Ever since we met way back 4 weeks ago or so, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, way back 4 weeks ago.
All of our interactions have just felt like, this is what we're supposed to be doing. This is a brother, and we're just finding our place on how to help each other move forward on this planet right now, in this time on Earth, with this magical time on Earth. And so I very much honor and respect you being here and showing up and inviting me into this realm of sharing what we're both experiencing and what we're both going through, and hopefully who's ever out there and listens or watches can get some value and peace and some love out of this, right?
Yeah. Amen to that. What I really loved about that check-in was how you emphasized that we're finding our way and helping each other go on our journey. That feels so true. I mean, I feel like it's true with everyone, but like, in particularly in our dynamic, it does feel true. It feels really true. And I love that you framed it that way and mentioned that Yeah.
I I picked an oracle card some weeks back, and it was kind of the last one I picked. I was like, help me, help me, help me, help me, help me. And then I got this one card, and it was like, okay, done for now. And the basis of it was, you no longer need to be the lone wolf. It's time to find your tribe, bring your tribe together, bring us together. It's time right now on planet Earth for us to join forces. And then it's not just I'm going to help you do your thing. We're going to help each other do kind of our thing, whatever piece of this is ours to do together, right? And we all have connections, and so that's where we are right now in this evolution into the new Earth.
Wow.
As we're coming together. Right now.
I wonder. Speaking of music, just want to acknowledge, if you can hear it, there is some music coming from across the street, a neighbor's house that might be in the background. So
she loves playing her music, and she's out there gardening, and she's in her place, and so
great.
Kristen's one of the beautiful neighbors around here. Love her energy.
We were just talking about gardeners, where we touched on gardeners as being peace holders, or that frequency of peace holding of the earth. So it's nice to have her across the street.
There she is. Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about, touching on this oracle card, can you tell me a little bit about what lone wolf looked like for you, and how the shift might be feeling in your body moving into the group, the collective, what you were just saying?
Yeah, up until the last year or so, I've been moving through my spiritual journey. Started back around 1999. To my best friend and my brother, both independently, gave me this book called Ishmael. And I read Ishmael, and it kind of blew my mind apart. I'm like, fuck. If they're lying to us about this, then they're lying to us about everything. And it was like, okay, I've got to go seek truth. And so that started me on the spiritual path, on the spiritual journey of seeking answers. And, this book came, then that book came, then the Power of Now came, then the Swami came, and all this stuff came. And as we're on this journey, whatever our own journey is, sometimes there's bright and shiny moments, but a lot of times there's, darkness and misery and loneliness. But you just, get up every day and you just go at it again and trudge through the day. And then as it became more apparent to me inside myself what kind of my purpose was, and my purpose was defined by what I had the least of, where I suffered the most, and for me it was mental peace. My head used to be way out of control, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But even that journey, like, nobody can help me. People can teach me how to calm my head down, but I got to do the work myself. So it's a solo job for a period of time. But then you also start feeling like I'm doing my own work, and I'm the Lone Ranger. My Jeep's name is Silver. so I'm like out here doing this by myself, right? And you're just doing it. And there's a feeling sometimes of solitude. There's like doubt, like, what are you doing? People around you are like, what are you doing? How do you think this is going to help? And it's like, I don't know, but this is what I feel I need to do. And you just keep plugging at it. And then in the last couple of years, it started coming clear to me. I was getting some indications or getting some confirmations or hearing things over and over again, that it's now time it's go time, and it's time for us to join together and not be these individual silos of whatever we're bringing to this. I'm just going to start calling it the transformation, the evolution of the planet, the raising of the vibration of planet Earth to a different frequency. And so that's been very fun. And then I get to meet people like you who are, on a path as well and doing your work. And now we're kind of seeing how this can work together and how we can because one high vibration being is changing the vibration of the situation around them always, right? Somebody sits next to you in a restaurant and you're vibrating at a higher frequency because you've let go of some of the fears, you let go of some of the worries, you let go of some of the heavy energies, and so you're just naturally vibrating more at a frequency closer to maybe our original, life force energy, baby energy. And then when two of us get together, it's not just like there's two of us sitting there. Somehow the energy of two together is more than two. So that's beautiful as well, and hopefully that'll come clear as we share and experience this time together today.
Are you open to me saying a little bit about the journey of our meeting?
Sure.
It was a month ago-ish, and we were at a medicine retreat, and I was a guardian and you were a participant, and there was, upon the first meeting, there was something. There was like a draw to you that I was feeling. I don't know if you were feeling to me. But then as the night went on, the weekend went on, I think it was the second night, we really got to spend time together while the journey was happening. And we went on our own little journey in the journey, which was amazing and incredible and like slow and patient and curious. It was really cool. But right before that started, we were in a temple that was on top of a mountain, and we had to go outside to go to the bathroom, and I was helping you to the bathroom, and we stepped outside, and you took my head and you put your forehead against my forehead, and there was such a potent energy when that happened, and what I saw was an eagle. I saw an eagle energy coming from you, and it was so vivid, this eagle image. So that's what I wanted to share about our connection. That's when I was like, it like penetrated me, and I was like, whoa, like not even in a bad way. It was a powerful way. So that's when I really felt like, oh, okay, that thing that I was feeling before, like that, now it just got solidified.
Solidified. What was happening here when we had that forehead, third eye to third eye moment, I guess it was. I was feeling such gratitude first for you guiding me. Like I was totally like unable to kind of walk by myself. I was like a guy, but I set all the ego aside. I'm like, I need your help. I need your strength. And you were like, let's go. And so part of it was thanking you for that. Another part is that my mind can be brought to a very peaceful place, like a no thought zone. And the medicine was helping that night with that. And I just and that quiet and that calm inside, I wanted you to have some of that, to feel some of that. So that's what that was too. It was just this moment of just pure inner stillness and calmness.
Amazing.
And apparently that set us on a journey, and we were fucking giggling and falling over, and I was laying in, I had some poison oak for the next month.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, because I was at one point I must have been on my wrist, like with a leaf of it going, oh
my God,
because my wrist was so
You were doing. Didn't even know that it was night. It was dark out. We didn't know.
And there's oak trees everywhere, regular oak trees. And then, so a dried oak leaf from a tree is what I thought I was having, but it must have been a poison oak dried leaf, and I was just etch a sketch on my arm.
Wow.
Anyhow, but the journey, what did we call it? Out and back?
It was there and back again.
There and back again.
It was a hobbit's tale.
The hobbit's tale. Because we were just feeling the brotherhood of,
It was an hour-long journey to
go 25
like 50 yards away and then back.
Yeah, we had some time warp experience in there too.
Oh yeah, and it was awesome for me because my intention that night was to be in a space of reverence for service and the journey, and I really like maybe, and like your injection of the peace into me helped propel that intention to come to fruition with that journey, because you were like in it, and it was slow, and normally a lot of times in my body I like don't like waiting. I'm okay, like, but like in that space, I'm much better in that space, because like I know what's happening, or at least I know something is happening, and I really got to just be in this reverent observation and witness to what you were moving through, and it was so cool, so cool.
We'll always have that for sure as the foundation of whatever we end up doing together. Yeah. Your reverence and your love and your patience was all very real and very felt and very much appreciated. It's kind of a light word for it, because this is a spiritual journey that we're on, and so in those situations, it's call it my inner sage, right? My higher self that's in this being, and that's what's driving the show. And that's what's interacting, and that's what's communicating, and that's what's thanking, and that's what's third eyeing, right? That's what's all that. And your reverence and respect and honor of that energy was met by your own guardian higher self. And that, for me, is not an everyday common occurrence. So you have like a soul guardian helping a soul guardian, walk through the woods at night to the outhouse.
Truly, yeah.
So to leave me to figure out what's happening next. And there was some funny shit there too, right? And but I honor and respect and love and appreciate all that you brought to that time, to that moment. Thank you.
Now that we've caught up on that, I want to know about Jeeping.
Okay.
I want to know about your journey into Jeeping.
Okay.
Talk to me. If you need a specific question, I'll come up with one.
No, I can just kind of go back to a place or kind of hinted at, right? Walking this path consciously here on planet Earth, I know I'm part of something bigger. I know I'm part of something that's helping this planet evolve, or different terms we use. But we're raising the vibration of this planet to a higher degree of consciousness. And the consciousness, I believe, is just a higher degree of understanding that we are spiritual beings. We are energy beings as our first source of what's in here. And those energy beings get to live in this physical body and have this computer for a brain on its shoulders to have this experience here on planet Earth. And that to me is a gift. And these beads I wear are kind of holy beads, sacred beads. And when I put them on in the morning, this one represents my soul, my spirit, my energy, and that goes on first as a reminder. First, that's what I am first. And then the mind and the clarity and the thoughts and the wisdom goes on next. That kind of helps me make decisions during the day. And then this physical body that I try to feed and take care of and somewhat exercise and keep it fit. This side, there are 3 words. This one represents life, force, energy. This is the energy that we are. This is the energy that this mug is made of. This is the quantum energy. This is the divine energy. This is, I call it pure energy. That is the essence of everything that is. And with that understanding in life, it's easier for me to walk around and interact with people, and also understand when people seem like they're misbehaving or doing something stupid or hurting others. It's all happening. It's all energy. It's all whatever, flow of energy. And in my flow of energy, growing up. Had a very nice childhood. Had a pretty traumatic thing happen when I was 12, and it was trauma that I came home from school one day on the school bus on a Friday afternoon at 2:30. My dad's on the porch. I'm like, that's weird. Dad never gets home before 5:30. And pretty quickly, as I walked up there, he just said, "Tommy, your dog Shotzi got killed by a bus this afternoon. He died instantly. I buried him in the garden over here." And my dad did his best to deliver that news as cleanly and as lovingly as he could. And the 12-year-old boy just fucking fire and rage, man. He had a book in his hand called God is My Co-Pilot, and he tossed that book to the ground in slow motion and said, "Fuck you, God." Really, that's what happened in this little 12-year-old's head. And the book skipped along the grass, and the pain I was feeling right at that moment. And then turned my attention to my dad, and none of this came out of my mouth, but I was like, I cursed my dad for delivering that news. And then I cursed love for how bad it felt to lose it. And I didn't know that I even had it before that moment, but the taking away of it, and I still feel it this day, this like giant iron wall just came boom, slammed down in front of me. And I shut my heart off. I shut my feeler off. And I went through life like that for 30 years. Met some beautiful people along the way, had beautiful relationships. And the second one of them said, I think I love you, they were met with crickets because I wasn't loving. I'd shut that thing off. I was thinking about love. I was thinking about stuff all the time. Because when I shut off effectively my heart chakra, all the other chakras got shut off. And now I'm not sensing and feeling, and having my intuition got shut off all at the same time. And so now your brain has to go into overdrive and start thinking about everything. Am I safe? Is this situation? Are they telling me the truth? Am I okay here? And now the brain starts ramping up. And my brain ramped up into a place of worry. People's brains ramp up into places of maybe self-comparison, or they get self-abusive, or they feel the victim, or they have fear, or they have, all sorts of trauma comes at different times and different ages, and then it takes on voice in our head. And so the voice in my head got so bad that, short story is, one day I wasn't thinking straight. I just wasn't making clear-headed decisions, to the point that I was feeling like I had gone crazy. And I kind of went into my house after a night of weirdness, and I just lay down on the floor, and my wife was there, and my two friends were there because they were looking for me because I disappeared 24 hours before. And I said, "Call 911. They go, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "My brain's not working well. I'm not making clear-headed decisions. I need help." So spent the next 2 weeks in the psych ward of our local hospital, which is 2 of the most amazing weeks of my life. What happened there was, I was already learning from an Indian teacher, passed down some lineage of chakra clearing modalities, where I was taught that the chakras are kind of blocked by our thoughts, like our chatter. And an example of that, just to cut to it real fast, is, and there's only like 7 flavors. There's 7 chakras, main chakras. There's kind of 7 flavors of chatter that cause a lot of trouble in our life. Mine was worry. My main voice was worry. And worry blocks your 3rd chakra. Your 3rd chakra is one of like strength and courage and confidence. And you can see how worry, if you're worrying all the time and talking worrying thoughts and blaming everything else for problems and situations, that your inner power is diminished or blocked, not available for use. Mm-hmm. So I woke up in the hospital the next morning. I won't go into details, but I first was like, I had a good life. My life was good. I was living on a 20-acre lavender farm. I had a good job, had a good wife, had a good family, had good friends. And so I wake up in the psych ward, right? And I go, what the fuck am I doing here? The voice inside my head didn't say it out loud because I had a roommate now at this point. and I got this answer back from me, I suppose, right? ask the question and get an answer. Seek and ye shall find. And the answer came back, this is your education. You're here to learn what goes on inside the mind of a human that gets them to this point of no peace, no mental peace. And I said, okay, that's a challenge I'll take. And so for the next 2 weeks here in the psych ward, I was like meeting everybody, finding out what they were doing here, how they got here, what happened. And I'll just, quick segue. 80% of the people I talked to were having some sort of a spiritual experience
Wow.
that they didn't understand, or mostly it was their husband or their parent, or, and they looked like they were going crazy. So they said, go take a rest in the psych ward for 2 weeks. Most of them spiritual experiences. So that's a pretty good, interesting point of data. So the second question I asked was, what's the difference between why am I in this hospital bed and why is somebody else walking down the street free and clear right now? And that's when this kind of image just kind of came in, and there was a green box. On top of that's a yellow box, and on top of that's a red box. And combined, it makes up a chatter level. And I realized quickly that I was waking up after the alcohol wore off, that I was drinking myself to sleep every night, and the alcohol would wear off about 3 a.m. And my baseline, where I woke up, my brain immediately started worrying up in like high in that yellow zone. And so I'm not sure how to kind of see this, but I'm going to hold it up for the camera.
Yeah, that's good.
And you can have one and look at it. But that's what sometimes I call the chatter chart. Call it it's also related to stress. So if you go up the scale out of the green zone, green is, cool, calm, collected, got it together, level-headed. But then as you start to hit into the yellow zone, you get agitated, you get worried, you get stressed, short-tempered, overwhelmed. You feel it building up. And so I was living high in that yellow zone. All the worries and all the stresses in my life, my head noise was like up there. And that squiggly line that's here represents the highs and lows of a day or a week or a minute. And so, you go to work and somebody cuts you off, or, the boss yells at you, or somebody doesn't have their assignment complete. Well, now you're tripping into the red zone. And now you're at that point, the cup overflow, and you can't think straight. And we've all had those experiences of going into the red zone. You just say it and people are like, oh yeah, been there. And sometimes we get stuck in that red zone for periods of time, and that's where depression sets in. That's where suicidal tendencies come in, high in that, when you just have, I'm done. I can't take anymore. I can't even think straight. And your mind, your ego mind, makes weird decisions. So the cool thing about this, though, is that once I realized that there was a chart and I'm on it, well, then there's a way to get out of it. There's a way to escape the matrix. This is matrix life, right? This is like in the grind, a lot of unconscious behavior, a lot of programming, conditions, traumas, all that stuff leaves imprints and noise in our head. And that's what this is. And sometimes I get it so clearly that, like, this is the problem of mankind here on planet Earth, is the noise in our head. And if we can each get control of it and tame it, or get rid of it, let go of some of it, then we're all going to be better off, because I'd much rather hang out with a bunch of green zoners, right? And so that's what, that's kind of brings me around to the Jeeping aspect. So now I've done a lot of work, whatever, shadow work, whatever, plant medicine ceremonies, and you do those with intention to maybe let go of fears, or let go of worries, or let go of bad relationships, or whatever you want to heal from. And each time, basically your score is dropping. And more life becomes more peaceful, calm, present, in the present moment. All that chatter is not in the present moment, right? That chatter's not there right now between us. The chatter's in the past. If we start thinking about the past and what we should have done, or would have kind of done, or could have done. Or the chatter's in the future of fear of what's to come, or we don't know what's to come, so we're anxious about it, or nervous about it, or all that. And it's nothing but synapses firing in our head. It's nothing but ideas in our head that got put there at some point. And if they got put there, then they can get unput there.
I love that.
They can get released. I used to teach this 2-day class in my living room about what's in the book, and we'll talk about the book. The book is basically how to get into the green zone and stay there through different exercises and getting stuff out, and then having green zone experiences. That's what we're going to do with the Jeeping. We're going to have a green zone experience today.
Cool.
Where we're nothing but in the present moment. We're enjoying it. We're smiling. We're like understanding that we're in the green zone, like not connecting that dot while we're doing this, just grounds it. And then once you have a green zone experience and you know you can get there, then it's just a matter of some time and some effort to clear some of the clutter, and so that you don't get pulled into the red zone ever again. And eventually you'll get to a place where you don't even have to worry about the yellow zone too much. Yeah. So that's me in a nutshell. And right now I'm trying to bring this a modality. It's a mindfulness practice, right? The green zone's a mindfulness thing. Be present, be calm. And there's a video out there about PTSD and how PTSD actually changes brain size in people. This is like your amygdala gets bigger, the hippocampus gets smaller, your emotional center gets smaller. It's not being used. You're like, I don't want to feel anything. So that part not only doesn't light up on sensors, but it actually shrinks physically. And then the prefrontal cortex isn't lit up because you're hypervigilant, fight or flight mode. And just kind of switching that, getting some of that chatter out of the way, will help people get out of that. Having that green zone experience will help people have an experience of not being in hypervigilant amygdala mode. You're driving a Jeep, you're smiling, you're out in nature, you're waving at friends, you're paying attention to somebody helping you get up an obstacle, and you're giggling like a kid because you're doing it in a kick-ass cool vehicle, and you're the only two people out here today. It's like, all right, let's play. And that experience, because it's all about experience to really, how we learn things. We learn by doing, and how that experience is powerful.
How I learn things.
Yeah, for sure.
By doing.
All right. At this point, I'll let you pull up another question if you want, or
Great.
Let's see where this goes.
Thanks for sharing all that about your experience leading up to where you are now.
And my experience isn't unique, right? We all have trauma. We all have voices in our head. We all have the stresses, and mine just happen to be in the flavor of worry. But there are 6 other flavors, and a combination of all these 7 flavors, you can pretty much sort out any problem you have.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I would say that mine, at least the part that I'm working on in mine right now, is victimhood, an attachment to victimhood that I'm noticing in myself. So,
is it okay if I ask a little bit about that?
Yes.
Yeah,
definitely.
because we all have our things, right? And I'm not sure I've experienced victimhood, and maybe I have, but if you explain it to me, what can you give me an example of what a thought process is behind that? Is it a self-defeating thing? Is it self-criticism? Do you have any when you feel the victim? How does it? Is there a voice that it sounds like?
Great question. Thank you. I'm just uncovering this, so I'm still in the midst of the process.
Perfect time for this question.
Yeah, exactly. So the question is very welcome.
And I honor your courage for saying this out loud.
Oh, thank you.
Speaking this into public.
Oh,
yeah,
thank you.
This is the strength of a real man right here. So thank you for this.
Appreciate that. What I've been noticing, what's starting to unravel in me is when I tell a story of something that affected me, I tell it in I tell it like I'm a victim. Basically, it could be a small thing that really touched a part of me that hasn't been held yet. And that part is screaming, look what they did to me. Look what happened. I can't believe that they would say that to me. And then I have to react and try to change them to see what they did to me. And it's always what they did to me, what they did to me, what they did to me. And, or how they tried to, or how they overlooked my experience. That's a huge one. Why aren't they understanding my experience? Why aren't they trying to, they don't ever want to know my experience. And like, I was in that forever, for years and years and years. And like just recently, I was like, I thought, wait a minute, I'm on this journey of owning my power. I'm seeing it more clearly now, and I'm starting to feel patches of it in my system. And even when I do that, it just opens up more space, kind of like I'm like, come in, I'm inviting it in. And so my answer's a little all over the place because I'm still processing. But yesterday I was on a walk on the beach with my friend, and we were talking about this. And as I was talking about it, and we were talking about my power coming in, I said to her, I can't be, if I'm in my power, there's no space for me to be a victim. I can't be a victim if I'm in my power. And like, fireworks went off my head of, yeah, this is all about my power, my empowerment journey. And then this morning on the drive here, as I'm processing this, I process on drive so much. Mm-hmm. I'm just seeing all the places in my life where I've attached to being the victim and blaming others mm-hmm. for my situation, rather than allowing my power to say, oh, okay, that didn't feel good, but I don't have to react to it like I am now smaller and crumpled because of what happened. I can now react to it, or I'm working towards reacting to it in a way that's like, oh, that didn't feel good, but I'm good because I'm owning this. I'm owning my power. I can see my part in what happened, and I'll own that. And I can see my owning of how to process it and how to come out of it and how to carry myself out of it. So I'm no longer stuck in the, oh, I'm small now because of what you did to me and I'm a victim in that. Now I'm working towards, oh, I'm still good because I'm in charge of who I am, not what I'm allowing you to, not the power I'm allowing you to have over me. Mm-hmm. Woo! That's the best I can do right now.
Well put. Well put. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, still working on it, but yeah. Still, that thing is like...
Some images, go ahead. The thing is like...
What's amazing about this process for me, and I think this happens to me a lot in my process, is that logically I can understand it. Mm-hmm. And my body, somatically, I have to do some work to catch up to, mm-hmm. so that my logic and my body that can meet in the, oh, now I'm thinking it and I'm feeling it. Mm-hmm. And the body takes a little more time to catch up, I think, sometimes. And sometimes it's actually the opposite way. Sometimes the body's there and the mind's like, maybe, I don't know.
What you're speaking is wisdom and truth. And that happens in all of us. Mm-hmm. The body even has muscle memory, right? Mm-hmm. Like the day that my dad told me that the dog got smacked by a bus. Yeah. And the dog's name is Schatzi, which in German means my love. Mm. So literally my love got killed that day, right? Oh. But in the physicalness of this being, I'm sure there was a tightening around the heart. Like I'm sure like my muscles went, like I'm protecting against that happening again. Mm-hmm. And all trauma sometimes, usually, even if it's not just when it's emotional trauma, comes with some sort of muscle tension, some energy tension, some like binding up of energy in our body. Mm. So not only, yes, logically we can get a new concept. Logically we can start to understand the green zone, and we can even have an experience in it. But there's still muscle memory, there's still tension, there's still pockets of energy that are, pent up in us, and tension and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And so there's different modalities and, massage therapy and stuff like that with awareness and consciousness to kind of help get kinks out that have been there for a long time. So body care, somatics, plays into that as well. And yes, the timing is just because you all of a sudden know about the green zone doesn't mean your whole demeanor is in the green zone.
Exactly.
You got to work there a little bit and do some work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And like you said, there's different modalities, and this is interesting. This is a modality I've never done, is jeeping. What were you just about to say?
I want to go back to the victim mentality, because as you were speaking that through too, some images were popping in.
Oh, great, yeah.
And when I would teach the class in my living room, I had PowerPoint slides. And when I came to the heart chakra, I had like an infinity sign inside of a round, or meaning that we are infinite beings of energy. But on this planet, with the way society is and the way we're born into the society, it's not something it's something that's wrong or broken. It's just the way the society on planet Earth works right now. It's very much an energy taking environment. We're taught to kind of we've forgotten that we're connected to the great AC plug in the sky. We're connected to the source of all energy, and that we are that source of energy in ourselves.
Yeah.
So then we feel like we're a battery sitting on a table that somebody's putting jumper cables on and gets drained. And then our energy gets drained and taken from us. So the heart chakra picture, it was a horrible picture, like visually, like I made, like my artwork wasn't good in PowerPoint then, and it's not good now. But it had all these hooks and buttons in it to other relationships and things. Maybe the church sets them up, maybe your school set them up, maybe your parents set them up, right?
You just nailed all of them.
Right. Yeah, society. That's the systems in society right now that are very much controlling entities. They're trying to control things because they don't trust that things are unfolding naturally, that the way they're supposed to. So most of us end up trying to control worries, or control our future, save money, or have all these controls in place. And some of those controls are over people too. And then as humans, we unconsciously start setting, in a relationship, we start setting hooks. We know how to get somebody's attention, or to get a rise out of them, or to get some approval from them, or attention. And attention doesn't need to be good. Some people are so desperate in this energy game that they know how to make you cry. They know how to make you feel miserable. Well, anybody that has the power over you talk about your power, right? You came back to your power. Our power is our energy. It's our sovereign energy. And in these beings, it's represented by our 7 main chakras, and that's our life force energy that's radiating through this body. And the goal for me is when I'm in the green zone, I'm in a much better place to pay attention to my energy, to pay attention to the intuitions, the feelings of, what's right, what decisions to make, what choices to choose. And I don't think much anymore. Sometimes we joke, some of my friends, like, life's become a no-brainer. Like, you really just lead with your heart, what you do. If we come back to my story real fast, the bane of my existence, the education I had to have, was to totally lose mental peace in order to come back to a place of being able to share mental peace. Like, I've cleaned this vessel enough that it is now a vessel of peace, and you can feel it. And I know people can feel it. And when I'm ecstatic dancing, I know, because I'm doing it with a quiet head, I know people are feeling that. So it's energy. And it's kind of coming through me at that point. Your energy, as you shared with me earlier, is one of love. It's a heart-based energy, which makes sense that the victim is a heart-based prison. You created lack of love, like you're so angry at everything and everybody for not paying attention and not hearing me, or not seeing me. And it's not just the heart, but that goes up and down a chakra too. There's elements of worry and overshadowing your strength, your inner strength and chi energy. And also your 5th chakra is your individuality. It's your gift, it's your voice, it's your uniqueness, but that early on in life we played a comparison game, like I'm not as good as, or I'm not as smart as, or I'm not better, and you get grades and you get C's or you get B's and all that crap. It builds up this constant comparison in ourselves. And that voice, that chatter, that comparison chatter, usually turns self-deflating. Like, oh, you idiot, you did it again, right? Or you don't deserve this, or all those voices come in. And so what I was hearing in your sharing is that. And so that's good. That was your job. Our job is to come here and experience the worst that we can experience on planet Earth. And we all have specialty areas. Eckhart Tolle said to a bunch of us once, somebody asked him, he was telling a story, he goes, somebody came and asked me once, like, how did this power of now and this expression how is it so popular? How is it so big? How is it so welcome on the planet right now? And he said, the size of the outward expression of this teaching and this love is only met by the depths to which I had to go to find it.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of us are coming out of right now. We're coming out of the dark ages. We're coming out of our hard time. We're coming out of our assignment. And it's an assignment.
I was just talking about this with my friend yesterday.
Okay.
She also is like, it feels like a lot of people are coming out of their things right now.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah. And that's what those things are. So it's not like you were a victim. It's not like you were, the mind, it's the mind all playing these games on us. It's the ego mind that's playing these games on us that has all these conditions and ideas and belief and tricks and that's yellow zone, red zone noise.
Here's can I share something that came up when you were talking about hooks? Of these things that are trying to control because of their fear or their insecurities. What I was feeling about my victimization in that, or my victimhood in that, victimization is another victimhood term, of my victimhood in that is that it found it by allowing them to have that power over me. I thought that my power was in being in the victimhood and using my victimhood to try to change them. And one of the hardest things that I've been working towards is letting go of trying to change them. It's been really fucking hard. But I'm seeing it. I'm starting to feel it now that it's that was the victimhood talking, not my power talking. My power doesn't need to change anybody. My power just needs to be me and in my power. And then whatever it affects, it affects.
Yep.
Yeah.
Here's you. Here's someone else in your life and your existence. Between the two of you are cables of whatever relationship. However that relationship is, and there's hooks in that person's heart, let's say, and the other side of the cable is hooks in your heart. And when I went through this kind of exercise of identifying these hooks in my heart, there were some that were just light and easy. First, the realization is, I can't change the way they're behaving. But that's our initial thing. It's like, you should, respect me. You should understand me. You should, not be, sliming me. You should not be taking my energy with your, that's like too far, right? But you can't control them. Sphere of control, think of a target. Sphere of control, sphere of influence, and the snot zone, I call it, the sphere of not much. Sphere of control, literally, and we think we're like trying to control this life. Sphere of control ends at your fingertips. You have only control of what you say, think, do, and then there's a sphere of influence, and you can influence others. Like I was a project manager for my whole life, a high-tech project manager, and I was trying to control people and their behaviors to show up and have their freaking assignment due on Monday, like I asked them to. And I worried about it all weekend, whether they were going to do it or not. and I, be stressing myself out. Only me, right? It's only hurting me, the worry. And I wake up Monday morning, I'd go to work, and one would do it and one wouldn't. And then I'd be like, yay, oh, all right? And so my emotional life was being changed by the behaviors of others. Sphere of influence only goes so far. And then most of everything is out of our control. And somehow just letting go of that lets go of some like, well, you should be different, or be a better father, or be a better partner, or be a better, right, all that, and be a better person. The only thing we can do, the only power we have in that situation is to let go of our side of the hook. Mm-hmm. So I sat and I looked at the relationships with people, and I let them go. I let go of relationships with dogs that had died, that I was still, not Shotzi, but yes, that too, but other dogs along the way. My mother. And I assessed every relationship at an energetic level. Like, what's the energy between us? Like, what, she uses guilt a lot. Oh, you haven't called me, and so on, right? And there was a guilt trip, piece of our relationship. And I couldn't tell her to stop making me feel guilty. But that's what you want to do. You want to yell at your mom. Say, stop making me feel guilty. That's why I don't call you. And instead, you look at that relationship and you say, you know what? I'm letting go of my half of it. Whatever expectations I have of my mom, whatever expectations I have of her behaving a certain way or doing a certain thing, I'm letting go of all that. Anything in our past that's gone wrong or right or whatever, doesn't matter. I let go of all that. That is the process of calling your power back to you. And the first step in calling your power back to you is to let go of those expectations we have of other people's behavior.
Yes. Yes. My therapist has been telling me this for years. It's like, you have an expectation, you have an expectation. Like, it's what I'm talking about before. Logically, I'm like, I know. I know. So it takes a while and a lot of work for the body to catch up.
For sure. And there's different levels of letting the brain let loose. You may go to a seminar or a workshop and it may let loose for a few days, but then it kind of creeps back in because you didn't dig up the root. Right. So you snap the dandelion off at the stem.
Great point.
But then it grew back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So. So the information that's in here in the book, Take the Wheel, by the way, is all about getting your inner sage, we call it, back in the driver's seat of life, which means the ego goes back to doing its job. And this
is a book you wrote.
Yeah, my Jeeping buddy Brian and I wrote this book. Came out last September.
It's called Take the Wheel.
Take the Wheel. First half of the book is about mindfulness, presence, the importance of the power of now, but it's explained from a different way, and it also talks about the chatter and how the chatter is not in the now. The chatter is either the future or the past, and then we talk about all the wise things about learn from the past, and you can't live in the future, but you can plan for it, and that's what you should do for past and future. But most of us live in the past or the future, in our anger, in our resentment, in our fucking world, pissed off, you stupid people kind of stuff. Some of us get stuck in that, the anger mode too, right?
Guilty.
Yep, all of us. But none of that exists right here. So green zone exists right here. Your higher self exists right here. Your connection to source exists right here. Right? It doesn't exist tomorrow. It doesn't exist yesterday. It's just right now. So all that is kind of the first half of the book to kind of help you get focused. And then the whole second half of the book goes through the 7 kind of voices of chatter, 7 flavors of chatter, and logically helps you sit there and go, oh, really? Oh, wow. I never thought I'd worry like that before. So if 99% of the stuff I worry about never happens, what the fuck am I wasting all this time for? Right? And then Dr. Wayne Dyer would help you understand pretty clearly that no amount of worrying is ever going to help anything. Like I worried over the weekend whether the 2 people are going to show up and have their assignment ready. What did my worrying have any impact on that outcome? None. Those people were doing their thing on the weekend, whether they're doing it or not, out of my control, and I'm going to show up and find out the answer. But I spent the whole weekend worrying about it. Stress, muscle tension, angry in my stomach, drinking myself quiet. I'm only hurting myself. So a couple logical things like that, and I'm like, and so it took me a while to stop worrying because it was such a habit.
Yeah.
But that's how you get rid of some of these
Yeah.
flavors, just logically. And then, like you said, you have somatics and you have work to do and you have a mindfulness practice. That you can get to ground yourself in what it's like not to be victim, not to be worried, not to be, angry.
Yes. And to add on to that,
Please.
mindfulness practice, there's so many different ways that you can do mindfulness practice, and I would love to stress that it's important for each person to find the one that they really are able to connect with and work with. And
Yes.
for me, driving on the road,
Road trips or not, I love road trips.
Practice.
Yep, me too.
Riding my bike is a mindfulness practice. I'm not able to journal as much as I'd like, but that's also a mindfulness practice, but that's not one that is for me. And then there's ones that you may not have ever even considered, which I hadn't, which would be what you're going to bring me to do today, which is Jeeping.
Yeah.
What exactly is Jeeping, and what were you about to say?
Jeeping is a green zone experience, and that's what your mindfulness practice is. Something you enjoy doing, where your head quiets down. You're not worried about the list and the to-do list and the woulda, shoulda, couldas or anything else, and you're just focused on it. And we all have something that we have. We all have something that we've had as a kid. We have as an adult. We like biking. We like mountain biking. We like rock climbing. We have something that brings our attention into the moment, and that eventually takes all of our attention. Ecstatic dancing takes all my attention to move and groove, right? I'm just focused so much on the body and the music and syncing it all up that the brain is like hanging out in the green zone.
Yeah.
And so it's a green zone experience. That's what this is, for me, has become all about. And so the Zen Jeeping is just that. But I tell people about it because you can have a green zone experience all your life. But until you connect the dot that that's what it is and that's why it's good for you, and the alternative is not green zone, is the crazy head stuff, the monkey mind. Just connecting those dots, people are like, oh, okay, so I'm not crazy. My mind's not out of control all the time, and I don't have ADHD permanently, and I don't have to, and I'm not a victim. That's where you're calling your power back to you. Your energy, your inner energy, your inner sage, all that is connected to the divinity, the power, the pure energy of everything is there. And sometimes people have aha moments out here on the trail, or a shower moment, right? And the shower moment is worth talking about because everybody says, oh yeah, a shower moment.
A shower moment?
Yeah, when you have a great idea comes when you're in the shower.
Oh. I was like, am I going to get clean out there?
Thanks for asking. But we've all experienced like a shower moment. And actually what's happening is we've asked the universe a question, whether we are doing it consciously or just like, I need help and I can't figure this out by myself. Please help me. And we throw an ask out to the universe. And if we're asking a question that's for the greater good or for the greater good of myself, of my higher self and my inner sage and all that love and all that, you will get answers. If it's like, I need a Mercedes, you're not going to get an answer. but
your answer,
but the
answer
shower
might be
moment.
no.
Yes.
To the Mercedes.
Yeah, you don't need that right now, but you're going to get an answer. You'll get an answer. But it's more fun to pay attention to the answers for the questions that are going to improve our life.
Amen.
Right?
Okay.
And so, but that's what happens in the shower. We're in a quiet place. We're forgetting about the to-do list for a minute. We're actually giving ourselves a green zone experience, and then the water's hitting us, and the steam, and all that sensation is now present moment sensation. And And then sometimes our head will get quiet enough that we'll be able to hear our own answer. That's when an answer pops in.
Oh, that's great.
It just pops in. We're not thinking about it, right? We're not thinking, if we carry the 2 and divide by 4 and do this thing, and then Wednesday we do this, and Thursday we do that, and then we're going to have an answer. No. You put out a question, you ask for some guidance, you set an intention, and then you put yourself in a green zone experience, in a green zone moment, and in that quiet of your head, when your head chatter is not so loud, you're more likely to hear or feel or realize the answer when it comes.
Yes.
So this teaches us how to get in touch with our intuition again, too. Green zone.
Now that I feel like we have a good coverage of what mindfulness helps us get to, what is the actual physical process of jeeping? Like, can you just describe what it looks like out there, what we're doing, just to give people a sense of like what exactly we're physically going to be doing out there?
We're going to be driving a vehicle that most people know how to do. Steering wheel, brake, gas pedal. There's a clutch in some of them if you want the extra challenge, but not required. And we're going about 3 to 4 miles an hour. And instead of, as Brian says, like when we grow up and we're taken, to a driver's test when we're 15 or 16 on the road, and all of a sudden there's a piece of a truck tire in the road or a box in the road, you need to avoid that. You need to avoid that obstacle. You need to go around it. We're going over taking those obstacles straight on.
Oh my gosh!
And it's a metaphor for life. We have weekend events. We call them soul outings, where we have people think of like the biggest freaking problem in their life right now. That's their obstacle. And then throughout the day, once they've formulated that obstacle from a bunch of, because when we have a big problem in life, it's usually everywhere. It's buried. It's like we don't have it like nice sitting on a shelf that we can look at it and say, I'm dealing with you today. It's just wreaking havoc, right? So we help people kind of consolidate it, and we make it into an imaginary boulder on the floor of their vehicle. And then during the day, when we actually have a giant freaking boulder in front of them that's going to take some awareness to get over, that's your boulder. You take your boulder, you put it there. And you do that all day long, and the different things that happen inside of a person is beautiful.
So we're doing bouldering, like climbing bouldering, but with jeeps instead of just our bodies.
Sure.
We're going into the big rocks and driving over them.
Correct.
At very slow pace so that we can get the right position.
So we can pay attention.
And pay attention to how we can get over it.
Yep.
Woo! Cool.
Yeah.
I feel like it's time to do it.
I feel it's time to do it.
Can we set... I would like to set some intentions, and you're welcome to set some intentions if you'd like for this day. So let's do that now. Okay, my intention for today is to honor the climb, to be present with my own ability to do what we are about to do, and to elevate that ability and that power, and to really truly experience being in the moment.
Beautiful. Ditto. It's all about being in the moment. It's all about being in the green zone.
Yeah.
And the more opportunities you can have doing that, the better life's going to be. Period. My intention is to take what I still have some imaginary obstacles in my head, right? Some doubts. We talked about them earlier too, right? About, you got to sing for your supper. You got to, still earn a living here on planet Earth while you do. And my intention is to continue evolving the trust and the knowing that I will be cared for and I will have enough, and that this is helping people, because that's what I am, right? I'm a water boy. I'm of service. I'm here to help others. Period, first and foremost. So my intention is to continue on that path, and to trust that I'll have everything I need to do that work.
Excellent. Thank you. And with that, we'll be right back after Tommy and I go jeeping, mindful jeeping.
Let's go jeeping, is what we say. Let's go jeeping.
Let's go jeeping.
Let's do it.
Join us next week for part 2 of Zen Jeeping with Tommy Stoffel and find out what happened out on the trail. If you'd like to learn more about Offroad Monks and find your chatter score online, go to offroadmonks.com.
Have a beautiful day.